Zip and I are out in the woods, and it is time to record a Growing Farms podcast. And today we're going to discuss my approach to digital marketing, making content on the internet in 2025. What am I doing to practice, and how do I inserted that into the layers of my life? So, a little background. I'm shooting this for the Apple community, and I'd like to check in on each other, see how you doing, what are you up to, what's new and exciting, how's your balance. And so when it comes to the internet these days, for both your customers and the search engines, so that the search engines can help your customers find you through your content, you have to generate a body of information on the internet with the things that you want to be known for. And a little context about yourself so people know what's going on. I've got the chicken tractor plans and the poultry books on what it costs to raise a chicken and how to market grass-fed chicken and eggs. And those are great. And they're selling, and it's awesome. But I also have another goal, and that is to promote grazing, pastured livestock, and that covers in that content. But the hardest one to navigate is mental health. Spent a long time in agriculture, see mental health as a large issue, a problem, an underlying problem, not only in the ag space, but generally in the world. So I've looked for ways to approach that problem in how I can fit it into my life without necessarily making it awkward for anybody, because it can be a really touchy subject. So it's like windy and terrible outside. I wonder what the audio is going to be like, but we'll do our best. I got the windscreen on the mic. Whew, it's walking and talking. So I've got essentially 3 layers of influence in my life where I can positively affect other people's mental health. And I figured out some of them are monetized and some of them are not. The first one, the easiest one, because we're out in the woods, is I have a YouTube channel that is not Farm Marketing Solutions. It is an old YouTube channel from back in my early cycling days, where I was the food cyclist. I went on a big trip, wheel bike for food. And when I walk out in the woods, I'm thinking about my day, I'm thinking about my family, thinking about my extended family, and just loving nature. It's a reset button. It's my 30 minutes a day in the morning and in the evening to get out, let the dog walk around, take a breath, and then plunge back into the mayhem that existence is in 2025. And I found those moments of peace are lovely on my day-to-day basis, and I wanted to share them. I grew up going camping and spending time out in the woods, going up to an island in the St. Lawrence every summer. I have videos about that from years ago. I was in the Boy Scouts and would go camping every couple weekends. Sleepaway camp in the summer. It was awesome. It grew up in nature, and by extension, I was with my family, and that's how I was raised, and that's the relationship. Not all of them have access like I do to going on a hike on a regular basis. And so I started shooting videos to share 15 seconds, a minute, 15 minutes of chatting while being out in the woods to send to my loved ones, because I know it has a positive impact in their life. And even they're watching it on a screen, they're getting my experience out in the woods, and I enjoy it so much. And I know some of that comes through. The return on investment there is extraordinary, because if I know I can make my aunt smile that day, that's one box checked for the day, And so that's one layer. And of course, I can't do any one thing with just one layer. I've also sped up my production process. I can now produce videos a lot faster. When I got my first 10,000 YouTube subscribers on Farm Marketing Solutions, I shot, edited, and uploaded all the videos from my phone. And my phone would fill up, and I would have to delete them. And now I've come full circle, where I was shooting, editing, and uploading I was shooting videos and sending them to my family, but you send this text message 20 times and that file replicates 20 times, and their phones fill up with storage, and you have this bloat in your the amount of information that your phone is hanging on to. So I started using YouTube again as a media distribution point where I could upload the video. Sure, if I got some organic reach, great, I reach more people. But the point of it was to reach those friends and family who I was thinking about, and I text directly, but I can send them a link. And that way nobody's phone fills up with information, and I can refine my process for uploading a lot faster. That makes me faster when it comes to farm marketing solutions, that even though I'm not doing a lot of edits to make this all snazzy and have overlays and music and B-roll of chickens, I just don't got time for it. And the return on investment, because farm marketing solutions is a business, the conversations that I have with you over the podcast and the more simple videos that are put together, I still have to script and I think of ahead of time. It takes more energy than the nature videos that I just shoot while I'm out for a dog walk. But so more scripting, takes me a little more time to shoot those videos, but I've cut back on the editing to make them more approachable. And because digital marketing is such a big topic, I need to produce a volume, catch up on what are the trends like now. They keep moving, they keep changing, and I want you guys to stay relevant with your marketing efforts in 2025, because farming is a small margin, narrow margin business, and I want you to capitalize on as much investment as you can. That was part of that last podcast episode with Brian. We're talking about the 10, 15, and 20. How much are you reinvesting in your marketing, depending on what your goals are? And at the end of the day, seeing a return on that investment. I gotta stop and breathe because I'm all out of shape. You wanna see a return on that investment because you are, expending resources. So farm marketing solutions, my aim is to inspire and educate the next generation of farmers and homesteaders. And I do that through my production information, business and marketing information, and grazing information, which I would lump into production. But I find that with the farm marketing, when we talk about the value propositions of pastured poultry, it's in the grass, which is part of the soil, and their soil is going to determine how productive your grass is. Moving your birds regularly and knowing when to cut the grass, when to move the birds on, how to manage the property, orchestrate all of the interlocking pieces is complicated. And there's value in that. The complication is inherent in the system. No one needs a martyr, so don't make it harder for yourself than it needs be. But there is a lot of value in regular movement and mobile shelters on pasture to spread the poop out, to grow more grass, collect and sequester carbon, build and sequester carbon in that soil so it increases the water retention, and you have a more productive property over time so that you can manage the carry capacity with your animals and reach a level of production that supports your individual business goals. Whew. And so that's why the grazing information. So I have the production because no one was searching for farm marketing solutions 10 years ago, but I knew it was a necessary thing. So I started laying the groundwork because as I saw more and more people in the demographics trying out the small farm movement thing, which I've spent a lot of time in, as you know, I knew that business and marketing information was going to be a sticky subject, and there had to reach a point of statistical significance of people in it, trying it, succeeding, failing, enough people in the space trying to make this work to have that need for that marketing information. So I spent the last 10 years teaching production with a light overlay of marketing, and the grazing information, because that's building the value that you're going to use in your marketing, and you use your grazing chart as your marketing planner, all the things, all the content that I've been working on for all these years. Peace of mind comes from having a clean balance sheet and monthly cash flow projections, and having a marketing plan that you feel more solid about your business, and you're not just guessing and, pissing into the wind. because there's a lot of farming and homesteading that does that. And so as this community of small farms has grown and the movement is starting to mature, and we're seeing that you can make money doing farming, doing this. Like, YouTube hasn't solved the centuries-old problem of farmers tend to get crapped on. And now we have tools that never existed in the history of man. And so with Farm Marketing Solutions, I'm able to share this information. We're able to talk and keep in touch with each other. I have daily text chats with friends from all over the country, and that means the world to me to stay connected in having the different perspectives and seeing how we've all tried the same thing and had our individual struggles, and we can all come together and talk about, there's that how hard it is, but I found the community with APA, you get past the how hard it is. Like, we're all trying to make it work, and you get into the what are the tactics? How do I make this work? What did you do that worked that I haven't tried yet? What did I try that didn't work that you thought would work? And it's that exchanging of ideas within a community that is so valuable and does such a wonderful thing for people's mental health, is to share their story and not stay siloed in this myopic view of the world of how farming could or should be and how it is, because that's your specific context. Getting the context from everybody else is just the best thing ever. And that's why I've always done interviews on Growing Farm podcast, and we'll do more throughout the year, because I want that outside perspective, because it didn't work for me. Maybe it works for somebody else, and we can all learn from that. So got another layer of mental health there. I have a day job. I stepped back from active operation of the brewery. I spent over a decade building Kent Falls Farm Brewery. Good friends of mine, still business partners, talk to them all the time. Do what I can for that business with what my bandwidth allows, but I got a 9-to-5 job in digital marketing. I'm working for a company where I'm on a team that manages the Google ads and Microsoft ads, email marketing, search engine optimization, although I don't do a lot of that these days. It's kind of set up already. And a myriad of other projects that translate, do e-commerce at a larger scale. And I have a blast doing it. The company's great. The people that I work with and for are just there's no ego. There's no time spent on office politics. The company supports the employees really well. We're all there to it's just a job, so I'm just doing a job and showing up. But I care about doing a good job because that company donates 50% of its profits to mental health research every single year since 1969. It was part of the founding of the company, was to be able to raise money for mental health research. And I saw that as an issue with farmers, and in my family, friends, all my circles, everybody's got something to deal with on the mental health space. And having mature conversations about that is something I'd like to think that we can all grow into as a society, because it impacts everybody if you can't tell. And times are a little weird right now, and I think that open conversation about mental health might be a good thing. And so I get to play in a big sandbox and meet all kinds of interesting people and have my work critiqued, and I try really hard. And it's fun. And then at 5 o'clock or whatever the time, I can shut the laptop and be done with it for the day. But I spend the day from my free time for the absolutely free channel to my hobby side hustle supporting the regenerative agricultural revolution. And then on my day job, it's doing the same thing. My efforts directly affect a support system at a larger scale. That company, $150 million to date, has gone to that mental health research, and that's something that we should really hang our hats on because it's great. And that's when we're approaching. How does that tie into Farm Marketing Solutions at the end of the day? What's our takeaway here? And then and we'll wrap this up. I like producing videos because when I shoot a video, when I do anything for any three of those circles, you know, those overlapping stratospheres of my life, when I'm shooting a piece of content, I'm doing it with one person in mind. I know exactly who would like what I'm about to produce. And at the end of it, I'm going to send it to them, and they're probably going to react because it's for them. And that audience, that being aware of who your message is going to, what they're going through when they receive your message, because everybody's super busy. Your customers are busy, your family and friends are busy. So why should they take some time to listen to what you have to say? And that takes some empathy, where you're considering their position in life, your position in life, what you want to achieve, what they're trying to achieve, and then meeting them in a middle that works for everybody and doesn't oppress, suppress, or exclude anybody. You can get ahead in life by being a good person, and that is okay. Thanks for taking the time to watch or listen to this episode, because they go up on YouTube and wherever podcasts are podcasted. And I'm just going to wrap it up. We got no ending here. Peace. Oh, wait, I could say until next time, I will see you out in the field. Ha.